podcast listeners, what's going on? Hope everybody is doing well these days. I've got a new Spotlight series episode for you coming at you. This episode is a recording, but it's from a Zoom session I did with my friend Jackie Hale. She is a certified nutritionist and an amateur bodybuilder. In this Zoom Q&A, what we did was we compiled some of the questions that she and I typically receive as healthcare advocates and professionals, and we tried to put all the information in one place. So I hope you get some good information from it, and if you have any comments or if you'd like to see the full session, please send a comment or send an email to liveallgood44@gmail.com, or you can reach us at liveallgood.com and let us know that you are interested in receiving a copy of this Zoom session that has all the information on the slides that you're going to hear us talk about. Hope you enjoyed this Q&A session. Stay tuned because that's coming up next.
Guys, we are here today. I'm Coach Lee from Live All Good Coaching. And Jackie, could you go ahead and introduce yourself and let us know a little bit about you real quick?
Yes, hi, I'm Jacqueline Hale. I'm the owner of Jackie Hale Nutrition. I'm a certified nutritionist, and I specialize in helping men and women learn how to change their relationship with food so that they can feel comfortable in their skin, reclaim their time, and learn how to get the body that they want without starvation diets, tricks, gimmicks, slim teas, and things of that nature. My coaching is 100% online. You can follow me on Instagram and on Facebook at Jackie Hale Nutrition.
I love it. And you know what, maybe at the end, or if we put this on some social media channels, we'll go ahead and include like your website and any links you want. That way people can get in touch with you as well.
All right.
Awesome. So what we're doing today, we're just kind of having a little Q&A. We both get asked some general questions about fitness, about nutrition, about exercising. So what we figured is we kind of put it all in little Q&A, and we'll put the question out there and we'll give a basic answer, and then we'll kind of dive a little deeper. So Jackie, if you are ready, I'm going to share my screen here. Let's get the right tab going. All right. So as we said, we get some commonly asked questions, and from your resident professionals there, Jackie and Lee. So the first question is, so I'm trying to lose weight. What's the best diet to follow? Now, the basic answer would be this. While there are many dieting plans for different goals, the best way to lose weight is to be in a caloric deficit. So I'm gonna come back out here. And Jackie, would you like to tackle that one first?
So I get this question a lot. And from a personal perspective, there was a time, I would say over 10, 12 years ago, I was 100 pounds overweight. And when I say I have tried every diet, gimmick, tea, drink, Atkins, keto, I've done them all. And here's the thing.
Even the tea, huh? Even the tea. Okay.
Regretfully, yes. And it wasn't called tea back then.
Sure.
You know what I mean? It was like the Dick Gregory was all those mixed.
Yeah. I'm aging myself,
but
I know that one too. Absolutely.
Anything that you do and follow will work, but being in a caloric deficit is something that's going to bring the body fat down. One of the things that I tell people is if it is something that you cannot maintain, you cannot see yourself doing this forever. Is it going to be good for you? And are you going to continue to do it? Right? Yes, there are just certain things that I'm not willing to give up. I like potatoes. I like steak. And I need to be able to have access to those things in my diet, and potatoes aren't bad. And so for me, trying to do a diet that is no carbs or keto, where I'm only limited to 25 carbohydrates a day, one, doesn't work towards me being able to go to the gym and lift weights. It doesn't give me the energy to even think. I'm fearful for people who are making like life decisions on 25 carbs a day. So being in that caloric deficit, but also in a space of, is this something I can maintain for the duration of my life to keep the weight off? Because it comes back with friends.
Sure. Oh, yeah. We don't want the friends to come back with it, right? So sustainability is the key, is what you're talking about. And I'm sure you've heard this phrase: abs are made in the kitchen. So I'm sure you've heard that. So people, that's what we're talking about, right? There's a few questions that we'll get to that kind of point to this also. But yeah, it's a caloric deficit. You got to put less in your mouth. That's it. Just eat a little bit less. Go ahead.
And people oftentimes, they see me. I also amateur women's bodybuilder, and they say, sure, I want you to be my personal trainer. And I'm like, okay, first of all, thank you for that accolade. I purposefully did not complete the personal training certification for a few reasons. One, I have no desire to tell anybody 5 more.
Right.
I enjoy going to the gym. And I lift weights heavy, but what you see now in terms of being able to see the muscle definition is not solely from me going to the gym. This is from me being in a calorie deficit so that my body fat drops and you can see the muscle underneath it that I've been working on. In the off season, you can't see all this. It's covered by steak and potatoes and the occasional dinner out with my family and all these other things. So that abs are made in the kitchen is real. I have exposed abs now. They're going to be tucked away in a few months.
I like it. So we all have the muscle then. We're just hiding it. Some of us are hiding it better than others. Gotcha. All right. So we want to uncover that. Awesome. Let me share again and we'll get to the next question. All right. Next question. So, and we kind of touched on this while we were talking about the caloric deficit. So I want to follow a specific diet, but there's so many to choose from and it could be confusing, right? So what is a keto diet? What's a Mediterranean diet? Or what is being vegan and vegetarian, right? What does that diet look like? So some basic definitions of these are as follows, right? A keto diet or a ketogenic diet focuses on the low carbs, high fat intake. Mediterranean diet focuses on the vegetables, fruits, herbs, nuts, and whole grains. Sometimes it can include dairy, poultry, or seafood. A vegetarian diet is very similar, but it can include eggs, but it excludes meat. A vegan diet excludes all meat and animal products. So those are the basics of a few different diets, right? Let me come back out here. So let's dive into that a little bit, Jackie. You're talking about the different diets, right? And I heard you talk about a keto diet and you're limited to carbs. So if someone is saying, I guess it depends on the goal, right? If I want to lose weight or if I want to become a bodybuilder, if I want to become an endurance athlete, right? Can you speak to that a little bit about the different goals and diets?
So the first thing I get this question often, people say, well, they want to work with me and I do customized meal planning for the clients that I work with. And they'll say, well, I want to be a vegan. And my first question is why?
Okay.
Why you've been eating meat all of your life. Why now do you want to be a vegan? Sure. Beyonce did it to lose weight. Okay. So I'll say pause. What is it you want your body to look like? Well, I want to lift weights. I want to do this. And I said, do you know any vegans who look the way you want to look?
Okay.
Do you know any personally? No. A lot of vegans that I see, everyday people who transition to that lifestyle ultimately end up gaining weight because they overload on carbohydrates and processed foods. There are people who are vegans and vegetarians who are very much the pillar of health, but they have researched, they have done their homework, they're balancing their macros. When you have those people who are, superstars and rich or athletes, they have chefs putting things together for them. They're not just out there randomly picking plant-based things. A lot of plant-based foods and meat options are very, very heavy in carbohydrates. And so you have to know which ones are higher in protein so that you can balance that, because ultimately you're ingesting a lot of carbs all the time and you have to be careful with that. And so that's the other thing. In terms of what you want your body to do and how you want it to perform, picking a diet, my suggestion is pick one based on what you want your goals to be, right? If you want strength, if you want endurance, let's look at the foods that you need to give your body to do that versus trying to make a diet fit within it. Oftentimes we are picking things that go against what our bodies can do. I'm really, really heavily interested in the work now around eating for your blood type. And so where people were like, ketogenic diet, the Mediterranean diet. What we know is that there are people who those diets work for because culturally their ancestral lineage traces back to those places where those foods were plentiful. So the acidity in their stomach works towards that. And that's why they're successful in it. Whereas someone else who is from a different part of the globe, those foods weren't there. You can't do it. I mean,
so you're saying it's kind of counterproductive for your physiology based on different areas of the world.
Right.
Interesting.
So if you, for example, and here's the other thing. So working against science, I absolutely never do that. But here's the thing, when you look at all those diets, like you gave a very clean breakdown of what they are. Everything on there where it talks about the things that you eat or what it excludes, those aren't the things that people are eating in excess to gain extra fat.
Right. Because nothing on that list was processed.
No.
Nothing on that list came in a package.
No, it wasn't pizza. There was no fried chicken. There was no wine. It wasn't any of those things. And so the things that people need to decrease eating until they get to the goal and then get those things in, small doses, those are the things you pull back on. If your body can handle the meat proteins, it can handle it. Some people's bodies can't digest it. Some bodies work better. If you're a person who is blood type O, you thrive on meat and vegetables. You don't do well with dairy.
Interesting. Yeah, I haven't gone too deeply into eating for your blood type, but makes perfect sense.
A lot of African American people, lineage by way of Africa, where we come from culturally, that's what we had access to. So it's not a coincidence that many of us are lactose intolerant. And so people I'm going to be vegetarian because I can't eat that. But the meat is the part that our system
that you're missing,
right? Have high acidity to really break down and thrive on.
Or even the type of dairy, right? If we're talking dairy, maybe you need to transition to goat dairy or something of that nature, not the cow dairy is what we're talking about.
Yes, exactly. And there are certain vegetables, fruits, and things like that. Even certain fish. The one thing I thought it was interesting, both of my parents are, I got old school Black parents. They, they eat catfish.
Cornmeal and all that.
And interestingly enough, both of my parents are insulin dependent diabetics. They're both blood type O. People who are blood type O should not eat catfish.
Interesting. Wow.
It doesn't work well with the acidity in your stomach. There's other white fish that you can eat, but catfish is on the one.
But catfish is even one of them that you shouldn't. Well, how about if you blacken it? Does that work? No, that doesn't.
Yeah. So
still catfish.
At those diets, my suggestion is always work with what you want your body to do, how you want to perform, and how you want to feel.
Gotcha. And I want to kind of piggyback on that real quick. Would you also suggest or advise seeing a doctor, also like a medical doctor, to find out what conditions you may have so that you can kind of work that into eating for your blood type?
Absolutely. And you want to do that. And I know a lot of time for women over 40, 45, 50 with hormonal changes heading into menopause, oftentimes we think, oh, it's a hormonal balance. I can't lose weight. I can't gain muscle because I'm menopausal or premenopausal.
Right.
So much of that is One, as a woman who is premenopausal or menopausal, or estrogen decreases, that is the optimal time to put on muscle. Yes. Like you literally.
So, I was going to say that, yeah, sounds like that's
it's a great time to do it. The other thing about it is it's not so much just hormones and slow down and you can't lose weight, but all of the things you did if you were a mom or, you worked a big career, you did all these things, you slow down. If you're not chasing kids and shuttling folks to practices or running to work, you literally slow down. When you're an empty nester, you go from cooking every day and preparing meals to like, you know what, I might not cook this week at all.
Right. It's the life they don't, so they don't take the lifestyle change into account either.
Yeah.
Okay.
You stop moving as much. You're not eating as much. And now you've gained 20 pounds and we want to blame it purely on hormones. Some of it may be hormonal, but the other side of it is.
But not a lot, right? Maybe 5 pounds hormones, but the other 15.
The other 15 is no, you had 6.
Well, no, I had to tell you, you cut me deep with the pizza part. But it's cool. It's cool. I mean, I like pizza. It's cool.
Pizza. I love it. I have it in moderation. I do, because I love it.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, I'm gonna share this real quick. Two stories about pizza, right? First of all, we started kind of making our own pizza, a little bit healthier, right? Now we don't make the dough, but at least you know what you're putting on your pizza, that kind of thing, right? So it's a bit healthier option. But what prompted that was there was one month, and this was some years ago, right? I got a young daughter, and at one point in the month, I had ordered so much pizza because didn't feel like cooking, busy working, all this. The delivery guy, right? You're messing with your tip, sir. The delivery guy looked at my receipt before he gave me the pizza. It was like, wow, you've ordered a lot this month. I was like, yeah, can I have the pizza? But
judge me.
I mean, I'm helping you. I'm helping you put your kids through college.
Right.
But it made me think. It was like, oh, wait a minute. How much are we really eating this, right? How is that contributing? And then what are we showing her?
Yes.
So made me think. But yeah, couldn't believe the delivery guy.
Let me ask you this question. Since you make it on your own now, clearly with better ingredients, you know what's in it. Are you eating it as much?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. It's no. And so right, that goes into, oh, well, what's in the processed pizza that we order that, dare I say, is addictive? But that's another conversation for another day. But that's addictive, right?
A lot of it is, especially if it has MSG in the ingredients.
A lot. So a lot of the ingredients that we put on our own pizza has a lot less of those ingredients because now we are intentional with what we put on it. Mm-hmm. But I won't talk too much about the delivery guy, and I won't say he worked for Pizza Hut or anything. I mean, I couldn't believe it. But all right, so let's go ahead and jump into the next question here. Let me go back. And we got through our diets. Next question. And again, I think we kind of touched on this earlier, but what are macros and what do they have to do with calories? So as you guys heard Jackie say earlier, macros or macronutrients, they are the base for counting calories, and they're typically divided into 3 main categories: the protein, the carbohydrates, and the fats. So as we come back out, so again, I think you really talked about this, right? You talked about your macros, but is there anything you'd like to add when we talk about macros and macronutrients?
I do, because they're still kind of really confusing. I'm right now in the process of putting it out. It's a book. It's How to Read Nutrition Labels Like a Pro. And one of the chapters, it's an ebook, and one of the chapters breaks down macronutrients. The one that gets the bad rap, of course, is carbohydrates. But we need to look at specifically those carbohydrates that we need and the ones that are good for us. I talked about that with sugar.
Okay.
Protein is that confusing one. People don't know how much they need or how much they need to have. And protein is something that kind of helps keep everything else in balance. It keeps us feeling full. It aids us in muscle and growing development, as are your carbohydrates. Fats has been the one before. There was the war on fats in the 80s. Everything fat-free, low fat, all this other stuff. And all they did was pump high fructose corn syrup.
I was saying, yeah, what else did they substitute
Sugar.
in order to make it fat-free? Right. Because you got to make it taste good.
Right.
So
and if you pull fat out, you got to make it taste good. So you put sugar in it. But here's the thing. And now people are like, oh, it's the good fats. I actually watched a video of a woman. I guess she was doing like a smoothie video, and she was talking about how she's making a smoothie and losing weight. And the amount of stuff she put in this smoothie, and not trying to be critical, but I'm watching this and I'm thinking about the people who don't know, thinking, oh, I'm going to do this. It was the caloric equivalent of a Big Mac.
Ooh. Wow, that's
a fact.
That's a lot of stuff in the smoothie.
There was almond milk. There was yogurt, like free pouring, no measuring. Almond milk, yogurt, a whole avocado, chia seeds, like fat.
A whole avocado.
A whole avocado.
Not just like a quarter, a slice. Come on. Wow.
And here's the thing to know about macros. Every macro has a caloric weight, right? Proteins are 4 calories per gram. Carbs are 4 calories per gram. Fats are 9 calories per gram. So when you multiply that and you look on the nutrition label, you think, oh, it's only 9 grams of fat. You got to multiply that by 9. And then you get the number, and then you divide that by the serving size. And so there's some trickery involved. That label, the FDA is a mess. That label has nothing to do with us. That's just everybody else.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. I've even talked to clients, some of my own clients, about reading labels, and not so much about the macros we're talking about now, but I've taught my clients, hey, if it's a name on the label that you cannot pronounce, that means it's highly processed.
Yes.
And it's the less on the label, and if you can pronounce it, take it off the shelf.
Then go for it. And so people will overdo it in fats. And I think of like road trips. Have you ever gone on a road trip and you stop and you're like, oh my goodness, I'm starving. I'm gonna be healthy. I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna get a bag of smoked almonds, right? And you get that thing of smoked almonds and you knock that whole sucker back.
That's 4 servings.
Could have got a Chick-fil-A meal. And I'm being facetious here, but in that you literally could have just eaten Chick-fil-A and been better off. And
probably tasted better too, and then would have been happier. But let's circle back to exactly what you're talking about. So you're saying the amount of calories, it can fool you with what's on the label, but what did we say in the first question, in the first answer? Caloric deficit. So these labels can fool people into thinking, well, wait, Jackie, what do you mean I'm eating healthy? Like I'm doing all this and I'm adding pounds. And what am I doing wrong?
Right. This pack of almonds says a high protein food. That's a marketing gimmick, because high protein is like, that's the thing to say right now. Fats are fats first. They will never be a protein first. They have some protein in it, but they're not a high fat food. It's just like, I remember it was a few years ago when gluten sensitivities and insensitivities became, I was in the grocery store and I saw it said gluten free on a pack of chicken. And I was like, are you kidding me right now? Really? Chicken sales are down.
So yeah, I don't even know where to unpack that one. Like, I don't even know where to start.
And it's all on marketing.
You said it was on the chicken.
It was on a pack. It said gluten free. I couldn't. You know what else is gluten free? Twizzlers.
well, hey, you know what? I got it. Here's the perfect meal, you guys. Listen up. On your magic plate, if you have the smoked almonds, the chicken, the gluten-free chicken, and Twizzlers, that's a balanced meal. That's what it sounds like.
It's a balanced meal. Yes. Pay attention to those certain size and not overdoing it under the guise of good fats.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I wanted to add something about protein also. What people don't understand is how much protein aids in digestion, right? Because everybody thinks what's in your stomach, that's what keeps you full. It's when it starts to move through the rest of the digestive system, right? So the more protein, and I know we didn't mention fiber. but protein and fiber is what keeps you full, but it allows your intestines to draw the nutrients from these other things that we're talking about. So that's why protein is so important as well. And you probably will not overeat if you have the right amount of protein in your diet,
Right. And I always tell people, when I look at my plate and I start eating, I start with my protein first all the time. We usually typically, like, even you go to a restaurant, here you go to Cheesecake Factory, here they come with that delicious brown bread, and I'm like, y'all setting me up with this brown bread.
Right. Can you bring that after?
Bring the brown bread last. I start with my protein and then I go to everything else on my plate. So that way I'm not overeating or asking for more of that stuff. And then I might have 1 or 2 pieces of brown bread. If that bread comes out first, it's me and that bread and butter until my food
and then you won't finish most of the protein that's coming with your meal, and you're going to take that.
And I'm overloading on carbs and everything else.
Another quick question, since we're on here talking about macros, right? Something that I learned in training, and a lot of clients don't believe me until they actually try it. And please correct me if my training was wrong. So sugar cravings, right? A lot of times people are not understanding what the sugar craving is about. From what I've learned and what I understand, it could be you lack protein in your diet, which causes that sugar craving, or you're actually eating too much protein, and that can help cause that sugar craving as well.
Yeah. So interestingly, I did a Facebook Live video, and it's uploaded to IGTV as well, Jackie Hale Nutrition, on this actual very thing today. That certainly not having enough of that. The other thing too is a lot of the sugar cravings comes in, there's a biological thing working. And then people have 5 and 6 hour gaps between the time that they eat.
So you're this.
Your body is wired to keep you alive. And when you go 5 to 6 hours, our stomach and brain are very old systems. They don't know the grocery store and the refrigerator and the pantries are there. You go 5, 6 hours. It's like, I always use this analogy. It's like your cell phone, right? If the battery is low, you're on 17%, everything in the background starts to dim. It's shutting down your apps. You can't sit. That's what happens when you go 5 and 6 hours without eating. And so your body automatically will crave sugar and fat, because those energy things are going to keep you from dying the fastest.
It spikes your energy quick, so that it's that shot to the battery, if you will, so that you jump up to 50% and you can function a little bit better. But then you crash, and then you got to get more sugar, then you shoot up, then we could you know what, we could have a whole Zoom just on this.
Crash and burn. But people certainly aren't getting enough protein, and then they're waiting too long in between meals. I mean, it is a natural, if I go 5 hours without eating, my body is automatically going to think something that's sugary and fattening, because my body is in save her, she's about to die mode. I'm not about to die. I'm just a stupid decision not to eat for 5 hours.
Yep. Oh, man. I'm just going to put this out here now. We're going to have to do this again about mindset, because a lot of what I hear you talking about really is a lot about mindset also. And I'm also teasing something else in the end of the Q&A. But let's go ahead and jump into our next question here. Great stuff, Jackie. Great stuff, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
And I want to tease that book that you're putting out too. We'll have to talk about that. So next question, and I think we've had the perfect expert here to talk about this. Which type of exercising is better, using weights or cardio? So if you want a basic answer, we've been providing that so far, but both weight training and cardio, they're great forms of exercise. But here's the thing, folks, there's so many varieties of everything. It really is, find something that you like to do. Whether it's cardio, weight training, some mix. So as our resident professional and bodybuilder, please let us know which exercise is better.
So I always go in line of goals. Like I tell people all the time, I am not a personal trainer. That is not my number one wheelhouse. I have learned some things over the years from myself, from working with my coach and people who I know who are personal trainers who are really, really good at it. But both, you need both. You want to keep, the cardiovascular work for if you're looking to decrease your body fat, keep your heart moving, endurance, all of those things, right? But if you want to be strong, if you want to keep your body strong, your muscles strong, you want to prevent some of those illnesses and things that come in from having brittle bones, you have to put some weight training in your life. I mean, why wouldn't you want to have a strong core? Why wouldn't you want to have strong legs and a strong posterior chain? And
now, folks, we're not talking about what you can see. No. We're just talking about the functionality of everything being strong. I just want to make that clear, because everybody's going to say, oh, wait, but Jackie, you told me that I got to be in a caloric deficit to shoulder muscles to look like you. And you're like, no, it's not.
And then here's the thing. And I often get women like, well, I don't want to be as big as you. You don't eat enough to be big. That's number one. Number two, people see me online, they see the muscles. And so we have this misconception around size. And I need people to get away from that, right? Yes. I am 5'7"3/4. Yes, I throw that 3/4 out. I want that extra quarter back. I used to be 5'8". I wanted that. I'm 168 pounds. I can fit a size 4 dress. That's today. So people look and they're not like, oh, so they see me in person. They're like, wait, you're tiny. Yeah.
Because they're thinking, wait, but 5'7" 3/4 and wait, 168 pounds, but size 4. Wait, but it confuses them. Yeah.
Right. Because for the BMI charts, I am obese. I'm 3 Skittles away from dropping over, according to every doctor chart.
Join the club. Well, if you're 3 Skittles, I'm probably 3 packs of Skittles away. So yeah, I get it.
So none of that makes sense. But then in terms of when you look at muscle, now I will say this, my body where it is today in this weight and where it was 2013 at this weight, completely different look. I was maybe a size 10.
Composition has a lot to do with
it. My body composition has completely shifted. For women, I'm a huge, for everybody, but specifically women, as we get older, I'm a huge advocate for lifting weights and lifting weights heavy because of what it does to transform your body. We got to get over this cardio bunny stuff. Let it go.
And also, can you speak to this too? I hear this common, phrase, if you will, that I don't want to get bulky like a man. Right. I mean, have you heard?
And tell me I look like a man. And for anybody who's curious, just go to my website or my Instagram. You will see me. But here's the thing. Some people may not like the amount of muscle that I have. They may want less. But understand, even with the amount of muscle that I have, I didn't start really isolating and getting really serious in the gym with weightlifting until around 2014, 2015. So this didn't just happen with 6 months of dieting and
this has been over time. You've been building this for a while.
Right. Yeah. And then there's also genetics at play with my body, right? There's some people who are genetically predisposed to put on more muscle faster and in different ways and for different looks. And so I don't want women to be afraid of weights because they think they're going to look like a man. No, you will fill out a dress like no other. And for all of these women who are
I'll attest to that. Yes.
These BBLs, can I make a plea?
Please, go ahead.
When you get a fat transfer, right? We're taking fat from the stomach, from the flank of the back, and people are getting it injected in their butt and their hips. It's fat. It's always going to behave like fat. So if you lose weight, guess what? That beautiful posterior you just paid for is going down. If you gain weight, which most people will because they get that sucked out because they haven't been able to control their eating habits, it's just going to increase and expand more. It will always react like fat. And then it's not a procedure that has been done a lot and for so long. And so we have to look at what the maintenance is. How does that look? And for the love of God, if you get it, please have them do something with your hands and knees. Please. You can't be out here with auntie repass church knees and hot girl summer check-in booty. Come on. Come on. Stop.
Wait. That's just a mic drop right there. Like, but
I'm
but
like,
yeah,
why are we
that's
skipping
real
ahead?
deal.
You had them do all this and you didn't get their fat sucked out your knees? Come on, sis. Let's see your kneecap.
Well, that's a couple extra $100. You know what I mean? I had a limit on my budget. No, I'm kidding.
Right. But rather than do that, you literally can grow and mold muscle to fill out and round out and curve your body.
Yes.
And you don't have to worry about side effects and thousands of dollars.
Or the maintenance. But the maintenance about it too is, I get to keep doing the weight training.
Yes.
But there's also the mental health aspect that comes with that. We can touch on that briefly, but I want to throw this in there too about the weight training, especially for women. The bone density, weight training increases the bone density over time, and that's the thing that affects a lot of women, at least here in the U.S., from what I understand.
Yes.
That affects a lot of women as you get older.
Mm-hmm.
And so in order to keep your bone density or even grow your bone density, that's why weight training is so important.
Yes.
You know?
And here's an interesting, I can't remember her name off the top of my head,
Mm-hmm.
but the title of the book is Roar. And she's a doctor, exercise physiologist, and she really looked at the gap in women's health and weight training as it pertains to women in the way we do, because a lot of the science is geared towards what happened with men. And I remember even growing up in school, it's time for phys ed classes and girls have their cycle. And I don't want to do that. You want to work out when you're on your cycle. And she completely demystifies and shows from a scientific perspective why, first of all, the breakdown of the cycle and what it really looks like. But actually, when you do that time, when you do have your cycle, that women, we are at our peak strongest because the body has realized there is not going to be birth. We decrease all this stuff. Estrogen drops. You have a spike in testosterone.
That's the time to hit.
Literally are your strongest at that point. Even some of my training that I do, I know when that time comes, that's when I'm pushing up and I'm loading in more weight because I can.
Right. There is physiological.
Right. The week before that, it's like
right. So you're setting PRs, yeah.
Right. I'm setting PRs though. Yeah. The week of that cycle because I am physically stronger then.
Man, see, there's science behind it. Okay, War. I'm gonna have to look that up. Maybe I'll post that.
ROAR.
Oh, okay. All right. No, man, that's great information. Seriously, like about the weight training, and it's so important. Like, you can't get past that.
No.
No. Let's go ahead and jump to our next question here. Oh, I think you might have touched on this one too. So, how much do I have to exercise to lose weight? Uh-oh. I know no one's going to want to see this answer. So, unfortunately, you cannot out-exercise an unbalanced diet. But hearing some of the things that we've talked about, right? Making the choice to move your body, right? Make the choice to move and find something that's enjoyable. That's what's going to be sustainable for you, and eat less. Abs are made in the kitchen, folks. Abs are made in the kitchen. But yeah, so can you briefly talk about, can you out exercise a bad diet?
No. No. So here's the thing.
Love it.
Prior to getting really into, I was thrust into the world of the weight room almost by accident. Like I really wanted to do it. I was intimidated though. I didn't know what to do. So I was just kind of down there, feeling really weird about it. I was a runner. I've always been a runner. I was a marathoner, right? I admire the sprinters, but
you always knew about the cardio and the working out. Look at that.
But I was always
I didn't know you're a runner.
I'm not built for speed.
I'll get there, just not fast.
But I always, even as a young person, I've always enjoyed distance running. It was just something I would do. I get out and clear my head. I can run and see. Elementary school, middle school, I've always enjoyed running. My last 2 marathons, Pittsburgh and Run Richmond, I was running on really bad plantar fasciitis. So much so that I was going to a doctor to get a cortisone injection in my heel. The needle is this long to run 26 miles. The last time I went, he wrote on a prescription pad, have a seat, no more running. He said, I will not inject your foot again. You need to find something else to do with your time. Find a new hobby. Okay. And so I was like, okay, let's give this weight room thing a serious chance. I started doing stuff and then I did. But my very first half marathon, right? This was after I had lost almost 100 pounds. I got into that big point. No, I did. I lost 100 pounds. And then 2 years after that, I started getting back into running. I trained for my first half marathon, right? So I'm carb loading. I gained 20 pounds training for a half marathon.
That's counterproductive, Jackie. That's, I don't know if I can trust you now. Like because everything you've told me so far.
Right. And that goes, and I tell people that all the time is my evidence, my proof as someone who lost 100 pounds, gained 20 training for a half marathon, of course, lost it, but there's no way to out exercise eating in excess. I was training and running 10, 20, all of these miles and gaining weight. And people were like, how? Because I was eating, I wasn't in a calorie. The people who need to carb load are the folks who are winning the marathon. Like,
they're getting on the podium. They're getting on the podium.
I'm not the Nigerian 90-pound runner. I'm not getting a check. He or she needs to carb load because they weigh 105 pounds. I did not need to carb. I have more than enough energy in fat stores to run 12 miles.
Man, speak on it. I've completed a half marathon myself, so I know.
But I was at Olive Garden with everybody else. Carb load the night before.
You're like, no, I do. Come on, more breadsticks, right? Free bread. Come on, bring it.
This is prior to getting my nutritional certification, but it was moments like that that really forced me to look at. There's something going on about food and what I'm eating and what I'm putting in my body and why I'm not getting the desired look that I want. And that's what really prompted me to dig into it more. Because I'm like, there's something I'm not telling me. I'm working with trainers, I'm working with coaches, and folks who had never struggled with eating saying, well, just eat more protein, just eat that. And I'm like, no, you don't get it. I want to hide in the kitchen with some Skittles because my kids are on my nerves. What?
No one told you what that looked like, or no one showed you, wait, here's some steps that I can help you address your kids getting on your nerves and being okay with, eat one pack of Skittles, not 3. And
don't hide. Don't hide, because that's another layer of stuff to do.
Absolutely. Yep.
I work with people around emotion. One of my seminars that I've done, I have to bring that back out, an emotional eating seminar. But it's real and people struggle with that all the time. But you cannot eat too much and not gain weight. It's not going to happen.
So you cannot out exercise an unbalanced. I was being nice with the written question, but a bad diet.
I did recently learn that I didn't. And I'm learning this from, bodybuilders that I know, and my guy who is a pro bodybuilder, phenomenal trainer, phenomenal bodybuilder. The man knows so much about building muscle and lean muscle and strength and conditioning, that actually building more muscle burns more fat.
Yes, I'm glad I didn't have to ask that. I didn't have to ask that.
Say what? Yeah. So I just build more muscle and it's just gonna help me burn more fat. Say less. Put them 45s
on. Yeah, because and from what I've read and studied about that is when you're sedentary, right? You're sitting, so you go back to the office, whatever it is, or you're done working out. The muscle still burns that fat more, but after the cardio, the fat burn ends quickly. It ends a lot faster.
And from that book, Roar, here's something interesting that I learned, because, people say, oh, you do cardio in the morning, you get an all-day residual burn, of fat. That's true for men. For women, if we do not supplement with protein right after that, that residual burn is gone before you get your makeup on. It doesn't
No,
last
you're right.
long for women. I had no idea. I didn't know that. So I was like doing all this stuff and working out and not getting anything into my system. And I couldn't even capitalize on, we're genetically built for endurance, not strength. And so we have to do things differently to actually, there's a lot I got to do to keep the muscle I have.
And it is not the same as your male counterpart.
Not at all.
It's too many physiological differences. Yeah.
He was in his on season and cornbread and all that. He stopped eating cornbread and lost 15 pounds in 2 weeks. And I'm like, really?
You said I ain't had cornbread in 3 months, and
I'm doing an hour fasted cardio in the morning. It's 2 weeks and I'm down 2 pounds. He's down.
Right. It doesn't add up.
Testosterone. It's different. And so women, we do have to do things differently.
I love it. All right. I think we have a few more. Let's see here. I think we got one or two more. Oh, all right. I think this is one of our last questions, but I will have a follow-up for you too, Jackie. So I get asked this a lot, and I'm sure you get asked this, but how do you stay motivated to, maintain your diet and exercising, not when you're in competition, right? So one of these answers is specific to me for sure. But you've heard us on here talk about mindset. We haven't really mentioned community too much yet, but results, doing different challenges, having self-discipline, the bling, I added that personally because when you get to see some medals, you get to see stuff hanging on your rack there. I'm sure you've had some medals and trophies.
Yes.
Like that's motivating, right? You're like,
is addictive.
You're like, and then if you start getting like, t-shirt, and then if the medal, you say, wait, this is heavy. Like that's motivating for sure. Yes. But how do you stay motivated when you're not in competition?
When I'm not in competition season. So a few motivating factors. One, like I said, there was a time when I was 265 pounds. Sure. I remember very vividly what that felt like, being uncomfortable in my skin, not having my outward appearance match what I was doing. I was a high performing principal, great teacher. I was leading workshops. I was called to different parts of the world to do different things. And the ugly truth behind obesity is that in the professional world, overweight can be equated with not as intelligent.
Yeah.
I've experienced that. The other motivating factor as a Black woman, we are now leading the cases of heart disease. It is no longer an old white man's disease. Black women are dropping from heart disease at faster rates than anybody.
And that's a lifestyle thing. That could be some of it can be hereditary, but
some of it's hereditary, but a lot
of it is lifestyle. Yes. Yeah.
Another motivating factor is I am so like a nerd about the science behind what my body does in the off season. Like I get to enjoy some things in moderation. I get to go out I have a cheat meal once a week. If I want to have wine with something, I get to enjoy life and live a little bit. But the motivation for me is I'm going to work out. I'm going to put all this food to use so I can see what it looks like when I'm coming out of it. The other thing for me, from a business perspective, I represent my brand, right? I represent Jackie Yvonne Nutrition. So I can't walk around not looking the part, trying to tell other folks what to do and what to eat. And I don't look like my results.
Don't let me catch you eating the pizza. Cause then I'm gonna be like, okay, Jack, you ate a pizza, so I can eat too.
Right. And I tell people that all the time. Like, the way I structure my life and I work with my clients is life happens. I don't believe anybody should go through life and not enjoy cake, vacation, a glass of wine, pizza.
Absolutely.
But it's about getting to that goal and then learning how to do those things in a way where you can enjoy them guilt-free and then go back to what you're doing. Once you get to the goal, people abuse the cheat meal and turn it into a cheat weekend. There's a sign
because you haven't gotten to the goal yet. Like that's the thing.
You haven't gotten to a goal. So all you're doing is just maintaining. When I eat something that I want to eat once a week, I'm maintaining that weight. Right.
Right.
But the cheat meal is designed to do something very scientific that people just use as an excuse to treat yourself. No, you had a bad week at work and now you're going to wing night because you're mad at all the stuff you had to do at work, and you're taking it out on yourself. Willpower for me and motivation are odd because willpower has never kept me from eating a Reese's cup. It just doesn't.
Willpower goes away. Willpower, you don't always have it. Like there are days, I know you've had them where you don't want to get up and train. You don't want to get up and do this, or even when you're in the gym, you don't have the willpower to lift heavy or do that, whatever that day is, right? You don't have the willpower, but that's where discipline comes in because you've seen the results from your work.
Exactly. And then two, like this shirt I have on, Totally Athletics, company I work with. Great design. The trainer I was talking about, Isaiah Hilton, bodybuilding pro, his slogan is "Will it and it will." But it's about perseverance and putting your mind and the actions behind that willpower in that work. And for me, it's like, okay, you know, I can think and do all of these things. And on the days when I don't want to do it, that's when I need to do it, because that's how you train yourself to really want to do it. It's the days you're like, I don't want to do it. Those are definitely the days you do it.
Man, have you been in my posts? What's going on? No, but I promise you, I've felt the same way, right? There's been days where like, man, I feel like absolutely doing nothing. It's like, man, I will even say this, right? There was a couple weeks ago, when I'm now, I don't want to say post-pandemic, but as we're kind of climbing out of this, right? I'm getting back to the gym, not like I was before, but okay, it's sustainable for what life is like now, right?
Yeah.
But I was like, man, I had to wake up to get there. I spent 90 minutes trying to talk myself and rationalize for every reason that I shouldn't do it.
Yep.
You know, and it'll be okay. Like, you know, no, who's gonna tell you that, oh, Lee, it's cool, right? No, you shouldn't do it, or you're fine. But you know who the one person is that would have known? And I couldn't live with that, because if I'm like you spoke to it very eloquently, right? If I'm not living in integrity, I'm the one that knows.
Yes.
So that's what's motivating, right? It doesn't matter, like it doesn't matter what anyone else says. And I appreciate people who, you know, continually say, man, you're inspiring and this, like, I love that. Thank you. I appreciate those things. But if I can't look myself in the mirror and say, okay, what was the reason you didn't do it? Injuries is one thing, right? You know, recovery is another thing. That's fine. You have to rest. Sometimes you need a mental health day. But if I can't come up with a legit reason that I couldn't do it,
I don't feel like it.
That's not good enough. That's because there's people who wish they could do what I'm doing, and they can't.
And they can't. You know, one thing the pandemic made me rethink it. In terms of working out, right? I'm a retired middle school principal. So I've always been get up, do it first thing in the morning, 5 a.m., go.
Right.
I'm full-time in my business and I have been for years. When the pandemic hit, it really forced me, and I hadn't done this, to shift my calendar from a school calendar, corporate calendar to entrepreneur calendar. I didn't need to be up at 5 o'clock in the morning. And it was a struggle, even for me. And I love going to the gym to get up. And I said to myself, okay, wait a minute, Jackie, you're not falling out of love with working out. You're falling out of love with getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning. And I had to take a step back and say, but wait, why do I need to do it at 5 a.m.? And so when the pandemic hit, I literally restructured my whole schedule to make it fit where I wanted it to fit. And then the other thing that I had to do, and I've done this before, but now I do it, I have to pay attention to my clock seasonally, right? I know for me, when it's dark outside at 5:30 p.m. and it looks like midnight, if I haven't already gone to the gym before I get in the house, I'm not going back out there. I'm not me, Jackie, this chick, not going to the gym when it looks like bedtime outside in December, January, February. I'm not doing it. So I know I need to go and get my gym session in before I get to the house, before it gets dark. And so all of that ebbs and flows with the calendar. That's what keeps my motivation. In the summer, 8 o'clock, it's still light out at 8 o'clock. Sure, I'll go outside. I'll go to the store. I'm not even going to Target at 7 o'clock in February. It's dark.
That's a real thing that people don't recognize. I'm from the Midwest. I'm originally from Ohio. I'm here in DC now. When I moved here 13 years ago, did not realize how I was affected by sunshine, right? And you're talking, seasonal, light and dark. There's so much sunshine that happens here.
Yes.
In Ohio, and I read this, out of 365 days, and I'm from Northern Ohio, Oberlin, Ohio, right outside of Cleveland. Out of 365 days, 230, 240 are gray.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean, so it doesn't mean rain, or it doesn't mean snow, but gray, meaning no distinct sunshine.
None.
That blew my mind. I was like, oh, yeah. So being aware of, and I love how you put that, like you with the resident flex, I caught that, by the way, but no.
It's just the effect that vitamin D has on the body.
You got to be aware of how you feel.
Yeah. So for me, it's like, because I know that motivation is something that is so finicky, I have to pay attention to my clocks, have to pay attention to the time. And I know I have to make all of those adjustments so that I'm not solely relying on motivation. Because I'm like, I'm going to sit down and watch something on Netflix. It's dark outside.
Motivation runs thin quick. Oh man, Jackie, what if there's anything that you want to leave anybody watching this with? What's one thing that you could what one thing you want to leave them with?
Learn how to eat in a way that you want to feel good in your skin and in your body. Abandon this notion of restrictive, cutting out whole food groups and things of that nature. Look at, what do you want to, how do you want to perform? How do you want to think? How do you want to feel? What do you want your focus to be like? How do you want your engagement with other people to be? When you're hungry, you're short, you're snippy, you can't think straight. When I am in a carb deficit cutting for a show, there's times where I can't even be around people a lot because my mood is very, very not nice.
Very thin. No, a thin fuse. Yeah, short fuse. Yeah.
And I know that. But it's because I don't have that stuff in my body that's going to keep that regulated. And so avoid cutting things out. If you want to cut something out, the processed packaged stuff, high fructose corn syrup, look at serving sizes, read labels.
I love it. The fact that you don't want to restrict yourself, have a diet that is reflective and loving of yourself. I love that.
Yeah, food's a natural reward. People are like, I just love food. Ciao, bye. Everybody does.
So if you love food, then eat it. Right. But you got to learn what to eat, how to eat, amounts. Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Well, I have appreciated you being with me today. I've appreciated your time.
You. This was absolutely fun. Thank you. And I learned stuff from you and stuff from me. It was great. Yeah.
Absolutely. So we'll have to do this again because I think we can tackle some mindset things. I think we can tackle a bunch of other topics that people come across that they just don't know where do I turn? What do I do? So awesome. I appreciate it. Thanks for your time. And everybody watching this, we'll catch you another time.
And I just put out 2 quick plugs.
Oh, please do.
One, make sure you follow me on Instagram and Facebook at Jackie Yvonne Nutrition. Be on the lookout for the How to Read Nutrition Labels Like a Pro. It's an ebook. I'm actually going to do a seminar online. So for the folks who register for the seminar, I'm going to do a whole workshop and you'll get the ebook for free from joining that. The other thing is this lovely line of clothing, Total Elite Athletics. It is a clothing line that is built and designed for athletic bodies and any bodies, but the owner is Isaiah Hilton, IFBB Pro, Black man. He designs and sews all of his mock-ups before sending it to his manufacturer. The man is like 6 foot,
Wow.
all these muscles, and the brother can sew, and he designs everything, and he's bad. But the clothing and the fabrics are beautiful. You can lift, you can move, you can squat. Your bum's not going to show. The designs are beautiful. It can rival Nike, Lululemon, all of that. The prices are great. I have a discount code, JYN 20. You just go to Total Elite Athletics. If you've never purchased anything, you get 20% off. But there's some great new designs, and trying to get, some support around this amazing line of clothing.
I'm definitely going to have to venture there, because I'm always on the lookout for new stuff to work out in or wear, and what feels great, right?
When people
Absolutely.
get it on, they are like, this material is everything. It is. It's
okay.
You put it on and you're like, whoa.
Well, if that's not an endorsement, I don't know what is.
It moves.
Fantastic.
It's not going to fall apart. It's not. The fabrics are very high quality.
Sure. I love it.
Too, so
I love it. Thank you. Yeah, great. No, great plugs. Great plugs. All right, you guys. We will see you next time, and I'm sure you'll see Jackie and I together again.
Thank you.
All right.